Well, hi there, and welcome to HACC's Real Estate Courses webinar. Today's format will be slightly different and it will be interview style. I'm thrilled to have with me today Professor Rich Cordero, and my name's Emily Fox. I'm the Virtual Learning Admission Counselor. Today, we'll hear more about the real estate courses at HACC, and your way of communicating with us is through the chat box. So at any point, feel free to ask questions. We will also have a time at the end for questions as well. So we'll get started just in a few minutes here. We'll hear more from Rich, but before I start asking Rich some questions, I'd like to give you just a very brief overview of Harrisburg Area Community College, which we commonly refer to ourselves as HACC, Central Pennsylvania's community college. We have 5 campus locations, all in the Central Pennsylvania area: Harrisburg, Gettysburg, Lancaster, Lebanon, York, and also online. So we'll hear more about HACC as we go through, and especially about the real estate program. As I mentioned, with me today is Professor Rich Cordero. Rich is adjunct professor here at HACC, and he's also a real estate agent. So he has some great experience in the field as well as teaching. So really, we have a true expert in my mind with us here today. We'll jump right in and get started with the interview questions. And like I said, if you have questions as we go through, feel free to type them in the chat box. So just to get started, question number 1 for Rich here. We'd like to get to know you a little bit better. So if you could provide an overview of your career path and what led you to teach here at HACC, that'd be great.
Great. Thank you, Emily. Thanks for the invitation to come and speak with you. This is an exciting program that we have here at HACC. It has always been in the classroom, and this is the first year that we're offering it online, the 2 real estate classes that will enable a student to go for their real estate license in Pennsylvania. So thanks for the invite again, and I hope this is informative. A little bit about me. I started out my career as a sales engineer for a Fortune 500 company locally. And then my territory was Washington, D.C. and Northern Virginia. And then while living in Maryland, I went back for my master's at the University of Maryland and got my MBA and came back to Harrisburg as a marketing manager and introduced new products for the company. And then I was promoted again to a product manager where I managed about 7 different product lines, and I managed about $42 million in sales. So it was very exciting, fun, high pressure, and I did that for 18 years and decided I think I would like a change. So that's when I went into real estate, and also at the same time, I became an adjunct for HACC. So I had the best of both worlds. I had still stayed into sales, which I love, but I was also able to share some of my experience that I gained in sales. And also, since I'm a real estate agent, I could also share that with other students. So that's a little bit about me. I just love what I do, and it kind of comes out. But I had a very good background and good training, which enabled me to do what I'm doing now. So that's a little bit about what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great. And I always love hearing people's career paths. And I think what your story says is, even if there's somebody listening to this interview out there and they're in a different field right now, it's not too late to become a real estate agent if that's of interest to them. So thanks for sharing that and letting us know a little bit more about you. So let's talk a little bit more about the real estate courses that you do teach. Could you explain the courses, what's entailed with these online real estate courses at HACC?
Sure, Emily. We're offering the 2 courses, the Real Estate 101, which is the fundamentals, and the 102 is the practice course. And once a student passes these, then they can take the state test that will enable them to get the real estate agent license. So these courses, the fundamentals, it gives a background on the concepts of land and property rights and laws governing real estate. It explains terms and languages. There's a lot of terms in real estate. And we've actually gotten, excuse me, our laws from England, Old English laws. So it gives a little bit of history of where these laws come from and why they're important. So I thought that's always been a little bit interesting. Um, so there's a background, terminology, language, and things like that, which are really important. The second course is a practice course, and it introduces you to the facets of residential real estate or areas that you could specialize, such as being an agent or a property manager. You could go into mortgage brokerage or commercial real estate and others. It really covers a lot of information on different ways that you could go and still be involved in real estate. Also, real estate has a lot to do with contracts and legal part of things when you transfer ownership. So it goes over all of the contracts that you use every day, such as the agreement of sale and the property disclosure, commissions, and everything else that you'd be using as a real estate agent. So they're two great courses, and I learn something every day in real estate. There's so much to learn, but these are the two basic courses that will enable you to start to get into real estate and then go from there.
Yeah, that's great. And the one thing I really like about these two courses, I think it's always offered in the 7 week format. So 7 week back to back, you do these two courses in the same semester. So really quick. I know many students are looking for accelerated type of courses these days, and these real estate courses offer just that.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So moving on here to another question. The courses that you just described to us, who are those courses designed for? And what I mean by that is this appropriate for individuals who have no real estate background? Is this appropriate for individuals who do have real estate experience, or for both? You know, who are these courses really designed for?
A good question. Emily, they're really good for anyone who really wants to know more about the real estate industry, but you don't need to know anything about it because they're really two introductory courses. They could be used as an elective for a student who wants a different type of course to take. A person who wants to know more about home purchasing, because more than 50% of the population owns their own home. So it's a great course even if you just want to familiarize yourself in the home buying process or the home selling process. You get a little bit of information about that in the course too. Or someone who's thinking of going into real estate to be an agent or specialize in mortgages or whatever it might be, that they can do that. So it's good for a variety of different people. And then again, as I mentioned, once you pass these two courses, that will enable you to take the state test, and then you can become a real estate agent.
Great. Yeah, I think you make a good point too. Of course, individuals who would like to take a real estate course, this is appropriate, but not just those individuals. Anybody who's in another program may just be interested in taking this as an elective. So that's something that's important to keep in mind too. So another question for you, why should somebody pursue these real estate courses? In other words, what's the benefit to taking these courses?
It really builds on the question right before this one. Really, anyone who wants to know more about real estate, it just familiarizes them with the terminology, the process, so if they're going to be purchasing their own home or selling it, maybe what to be aware of in that process, or if they want to be involved and get into real estate. So it's really could be for a lot of different people and purposes.
Yeah, and I guess to add to the benefit, I think it's just a benefit in general that it's offered online and that students can work it around their schedules as long as they're following along with the deadlines and the due dates. So lots of benefits to taking these courses.
Sure.
So another question for you here, what types of jobs and salaries may students expect after taking these courses? I know you briefly touched on some of the different areas that students could get into. What types of jobs specifically?
There's a lot of jobs, Emily, and the real estate market is such a big driver in our economy. Um, when the job market is good, the real estate market is good. And when real estate is good, it just provides jobs for so many, many people. But there's a lot of jobs that are related to the real estate industry, and it could be sales as an agent. You could be interested in commercial real estate or property management, mortgage brokers, a settlement coordinator because you have to go to a settlement and title insurance, working for a builder or new home sales. There's just so many jobs related to the housing industry and residential real estate. Um, so I think that kind of gives a little bit of a snapshot. In one of my jobs as a real estate agent, I also was a productivity coach. So some people who may not want to sell real estate could also be involved in that. I like to sell, so I just did that off to the side, but that's another thing that someone could be interested in. Office management is important in the real estate field, or marketing real estate, social media, website design. It kind of goes on and on. There's a lot of different jobs that are related to the real estate industry, even if you didn't want to become a real estate agent. But I think real estate agent is an exciting job for me anyway. But there's a lot of different ways. For anyone who has different interests and different talents, there's something for everybody, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot of times students just don't think of all those variety of different jobs that you can get in real estate. One of the web links that I put up in this webinar, right under Rich and my photo, you'll see career coach that you can click on. That may be a great resource for you to check out as a student. You can go and explore different careers here in the central Pennsylvania area and see what salaries, approximate salaries may be associated with those jobs, just to get even more of a feel. But Rich, you certainly gave us a good feel for where students could go within this field. The next question I have for you is related to this and may even overlap with the other question, but what is the career outlook for this real estate field? Is it growing? Is this a field that students should get into?
Great question, Emily. Let me just go back in time a little bit. In 2007 and 2008, we really had a real estate crash, a mortgage crash. Then we've seen modest growth since then, so it's definitely picking up incrementally each year. And it remains to be very bright. I think the real estate industry is just, I just anticipate a lot of growth in the next couple of years, and I think it'll continue to grow. Interest rates are still low, very, very low historically, and that's a good sign to stimulate real estate. Right now, home inventory is down, so there's not a lot of homes on the market. So that means that homes sell a little quicker right now, which is always good for the seller. The job market is doing better, and as long as the jobs are doing well, then real estate will follow suit. And Emily, people will always be buying and selling homes. People get married. People have children, they need a larger home, or the children have grown and they have too big a house, so they want to downsize. They don't need the large home anymore. People's jobs transfer, people die, unfortunately. People get married, and they want to buy a townhome or a condo. People don't want to mow lawns anymore, so changes of life always happen. People will always be moving and always need real estate.
So if I don't want to mow my lawn anymore, maybe I should be moving. Is that what you're saying?
You should get a condo.
Yeah, so it sounds like a very promising field to get into. Thanks for the overview with that. Another question here. I know a lot of this webinar interview has been focused around the online real estate courses. Are there similar real estate course opportunities on campus, or is this offered online for a reason and just online?
Well, that's a good question. The reason why it's online is we used to have this in the classroom, but some people were limited if they are a distance from the campus and really couldn't do the driving. So they decided to put it online, and we've gotten great results. We have full classes, and it just enables people who do live a distance to take the classes online. And also, it's convenient because if they're working full time, that they can, check in on weekends and nights or in the morning, go online. Class is just so convenient. So that's why we put it online, and it's been very well received. But to answer your question, maybe some other related courses, I think that there's a lot of things that can be related to real estate that you would use in the real estate field, such as marketing. A marketing class would be great. Finance or accounting would certainly be used in real estate. A management class, any type of advertising, they all could be related to the real estate field.
Yeah, great point. And business, I would imagine, slides right in with those categories. So as students listening out there, always know that you can be mixing and matching on campus or online courses or blended courses, half online, half on campus. But the real estate courses that we offer to provide you with the flexibility that we think that you desire, it is offered online. One last question here, very open-ended type of question. Is there anything else that you think would be important to add?
Yeah. I just think real estate's an exciting profession. I enjoy every day dealing with people, dealing with different situations, helping people move to a house that their dream house, or maybe selling and moving to another state to be near the grandchildren. So I get that type of reward from real estate. I learn something every day, and every day is different. And I get to work with some great people that you just love them. And there's some people who are just kind of difficult, but that's a learning experience too. And I find that as a challenge. But it's a great challenge, and it's also very rewarding. And I really enjoy all of it. And I'm blessed that I've been able to do that. And I hope other people, have the same experience. And I'm always available if anybody would have questions, that they can certainly contact me.
Well, and speaking of, the next question here really is designed for those of you who are listening in on the webinar. Do you have any questions for Rich, or do you have any questions for me as an admission counselor? If you do, feel free to type it there in the chat box. And I just want to give you a few minutes to think of questions you may have. But one thing I do want to bring to your attention is the next semester starts January 17th for the spring term, and new student registration begins on November 14th, just so you know what your timeline is if you're looking to pursue this. And both courses will be offered in the spring as well,
yes,
correct?
Okay.
Yeah,
sure.
Online. Any questions, feel free to type it there in the chat box. Then briefly before we do wrap up this webinar today, I will go through the admission steps. So if you're interested in pursuing this, you'll know what your next steps are. We will also be providing our contact information at the end too. So if you don't think of your questions right now, you can always ask us the questions later on too. Well, at this point, I'm going to move on to the admission steps, and certainly you can continue to write any questions that you may have there in the chat box. We'll address them. But your next steps, if you're looking to pursue these real estate courses online, is to complete an application online at hacc.edu. We also encourage students to look into their financial aid options by filling out their free application for federal student aid, the FAFSA, at fafsa.gov. Fortunately for these two real estate courses, if that is all that you're looking to take at HACC, it does not require placement testing. There are no prerequisites. The only prerequisite is that you take them in the order, Real Estate 101 and then Real Estate 102. After doing the application and the FAFSA, Students can go through new student orientation online, takes about an hour from your MyHack account. And from there, students reach out to an advisor to register for classes. They also pay tuition. I do have tuition listed under our pictures. That's one thing we are happy to provide to students as a community college, in that we strive for affordable yet quality education. So those are the simple steps to becoming a student at HACC and enrolling in the online real estate courses. Any questions about the admission steps or about the real estate courses or about the real estate profession? As I promised, Rich and my contact information is up here on the slide. I know we're both willing to answer your questions in the future. You can also check out the HACC webpage, hacc.edu, for more information about HACC and also the real estate courses. Any last questions before we completely wrap up the program today? Looks like there's a question from Purcell, and you're wondering, are there scholarship opportunities if you're looking to take these two courses? So the first step, if you're looking to to apply for scholarships, we encourage all students to fill out the FAFSA first at fafsa.gov. From there, HACC offers a variety, over 200 different scholarships, which are just for HACC students. They have different types of requirements, so some may require that you're taking a certain amount of credits, some may not, so it really varies. But I would encourage you to check out the scholarship opportunities that HACC offers. Plus, there are a number of third-party scholarships available. I know that our financial aid does provide recommendations of places that you can look for third-party scholarship opportunities. So Purcell and anyone else who's interested in scholarships, I'm sorry it's not a black and white answer. There are many scholarship opportunities, but much of it depends on what you're eligible for, but I encourage you to check that out. Any other questions? Well, if not, I thank you for attending the real estate webinar. I thank Rich for providing some great information today through the interview. Any last words, Rich, of advice for these students?
Thank you very much, Emily, for the time. And again, if anyone has a question, feel free to contact me or call me, email me. But it's been a pleasure, and thanks for the time.
Yes, thank you. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thanks again, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions moving forward.